Memorial Day. The loud booms and the technicolor glow of fireworks high in the sky. It's one of those nights where it feels like anything is possible. Storms were in the forecast for western Ohio, but significant tornadoes? They were more of an afterthought for most of the region's residents. A tornado risk existed, sure, but for most it wasn't anything to be concerned about. Not when the night sky was filled with vibrant purples, pinks, reds, and greens, welcoming in summer by inducing an ethereal daze. As the sun set, winds from the southeast would pick up, ushering in temperatures well into the 70s across the western fringes of the Buckeye State, alongside ample moisture. As the dazzling glow of sparklers filled the gloomy dusk, an uncharacteristic humidity took hold of the evening. It felt like storms were on the horizon. By 8:20 p.m., the Storm Prediction Center had issued a tornado watch for the region. The main risk area that day, which had been situated over northern Indiana and Illinois, had mostly failed to live up to expectations. But as the storms approached the Indiana-Ohio border, something largely unexpected would happen. Quickly, the semi-discrete supercells that had failed to do much of anything further to the west began exploding, intense mesocyclones forming with seemingly every storm. Within just a few minutes, several weak tornadoes would touch down across the greater Miami Valley, before one supercell in Mercer County, Ohio would take off. A large and destructive EF3 tornado would ravage the northern fringes of the city of Celina, destroying several homes, mangling vehicles, and knocking down trees. One man sleeping in his house would be killed, and an airborne vehicle would land on him in his sleep. As a tornado struck the city, radar would come to life. Bright colors on velocity, reflectivity, and the correlation coefficient mimicking the vivid color of the fireworks that had painted the sky mere hours before. Television meteorologists would quickly break into regularly scheduled programming to cover the twister. Within minutes, the joyous, celebratory, and dreamlike atmosphere across the region would be broken. Like a nightmare coming on suddenly, it would catch many off guard. A large amount of people, especially further south, were still enjoying the fireworks and their cookouts with friends and family. But soon, off in the distance, tall, towering anvil clouds would become visible, with constant streaks of lightning reaching out in every direction, illuminating the night sky in their own show, as Mother Nature reminded everyone on the ground of her true power. By 10:30 p.m., a group of supercells was beginning to descend upon the Dayton metro. Soon enough, one in far southern Darke County would begin to show signs of rapidly intensifying rotation, bright colors painting the radar once more. In no time, another large and intense tornado would touch down outside of the village of Potsdam and begin moving east towards Ludlow Falls. With the night casting a dark shadow upon the landscape and with nothing but lightning to illuminate the sky, those in the path would have no idea of what was coming. Entire forests near Ludlow Falls would be flattened, while significant damage to homes would be observed as well, several reduced to only their interior walls, their roofs and exterior walls torn apart and scattered around. Many homes would be completely destroyed. Many people would have no idea what hit them. Those in the path would have to rely on local news to be their eyes and ears. But even the seasoned meteorologists on air were not prepared for what they were seeing.
It does not look like you're going to have a direct hit, but Ludlow Falls, right now, I'm serious, get to your safe spot. You need to be in the lowest interior part of a sturdy structure. Get there now. This is a dangerous situation that has been ongoing as this, I'm sorry,
it's okay. And I would advise anybody with kids, get helmets on.
Thanks to the advanced warning given by NWS and TV meteorologists, nobody would perish in the storm. All the while, a few miles to the south, a monster was being born. Through the inky blackness and the curtains of rain, a rapidly rotating wall cloud would begin to mature. Meteorologists on air, just recovering from the last tornado, which was just dying a little bit to the north, would soon notice a rapidly tightening velocity couplet on the storm, and would grow increasingly concerned as they saw where the cell was aiming, directly for Dayton, the largest city around. Despite the poor visibility, storm chasers on the ground would observe it to their best ability. At first, only occasionally spying a suspicious lowering every few minutes when the constant barrage of lightning would illuminate the Ohio countryside. And then, through the darkness, power flashes. In the night, a rapidly intensifying and rapidly widening twister had touched down. Under the dark, it would tear through southern portions of the city of Brookville at EF2 intensity, ripping the roofs off of homes on the outer edges of town and destroying much of Brookville Middle School. As the tornado would march deeper into Montgomery County, it would grow even more intense, soon reaching EF3 strength as it hit the Dayton suburb of Trotwood. By this point, radar was showing debris being lofted over 15,000 feet in the air as the violent vortex beneath would enter suburban Dayton. Home after home would be impacted, roofs torn up and thrown, cars tossed, walls collapsed. With a textbook intense velocity couplet visible on radar, at 10:50 the NWS would issue a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning for Dayton, letting those ahead know they were in a life-threatening situation. While at first, it appears as if the twister would miss Dayton's urban core to the north, the tornado would soon shift to the south, directly for downtown Dayton. It was at this point that the NWS would make the decision to issue a rare tornado emergency, the highest level of tornado warning the NWS can issue. The NWS would tell those in the path that a large and extremely dangerous tornado was moving through the city, and that catastrophic damage was likely ongoing. Thousands upon thousands of people would suffer a direct hit from the twister, as it would hit home after home in a major metropolitan area after dark. As the tornado crossed the Stillwater River a short ways to the north of downtown Dayton, it would reach its peak intensity. Here, several well-built apartment complexes would suffer extreme damage, their upper floors entirely wiped out by winds approaching 170 miles per hour. Extreme tree damage would be observed in adjacent wooded areas where dozens of trees would be completely debarked. In the Northridge neighborhood, commercial buildings would be damaged or destroyed alongside even more houses before crossing I-75, one of the busiest highways in the country. The twister would then hit the Old North neighborhood of Dayton, now just a few blocks away from the skyscrapers at the city center. Old brick homes here would be demolished alongside additional shops and restaurants which would have been crowded if the tornado had struck a few hours before. After crossing the Mad River, the Dayton tornado would begin to gradually weaken, retracting in size, and soon going back up into the sky, leaving behind an over 18-mile-long path and nearly 200 injuries. Miraculously, despite the tornado hitting an urban center deep into the nighttime hours, no direct fatalities would be documented, a testament to the amazing warning issued by the NWS and the warnings handed out by local TV meteorologists. An additional EF3 would touch down a few minutes later and cause significant damage in New Germany and Beavercreek, with especially significant damage done to homes and condos in a pair of subdivisions, before it too would lift a few miles outside of Xenia. While a few more twisters would touch down throughout the night, none would reach the same intensity as the tornadoes near Dayton. Back in the city, the night would soon be filled by the blaring of sirens, as first responders would descend upon miles of damage, looking for anyone injured. By sunrise, the scale of the damage was made apparent. Home after home significantly damaged or destroyed. Dozens of stores rendered inoperable. Decades-old trees chopped up and torn down. In the days following, media from across the country would descend upon Dayton and surrounding areas, even as severe weather would ravage other parts of the country. One of the primary stories they'd cover would be the astounding lack of lives lost in the outbreak. While one death is still far too many when you take into account the fact that there were multiple intense to violent tornadoes that moved through populated areas, including a metro with nearly 1 million people, in the middle of the night on a holiday weekend no less, it's incredible that more people didn't perish in the storms. As stated previously, we can largely thank the incredible work put in by those of the National Weather Service and meteorologists at Dayton area TV stations. The average lead time provided by the warnings issued by the NWS was 15 minutes, while those in the path of the Dayton EF4 had on average an incredible 34 minutes of lead time. This extra time gave those in the path of these dangerous storms enough of a heads up to find sturdy, safe, and secure shelter, preventing any direct fatalities in the city. Additionally, while the outbreak was seemingly under-forecasted by the Storm Prediction Center, with the primary threat area being displaced to the northwest, the NWS office in Wilmington, Ohio had identified the potential for intense tornadoes within their warning forecast area hours before the SPC began to pick up on that same scenario. While models initially showed the strong tornado-producing storms forecasted across northern Illinois and Indiana congealing together into a squall line before moving into Ohio, which would have yielded more of a straight-line wind threat, the morning of, the HRRR, or the High Resolution Rapid Refresh model, began to forecast a different scenario, one in which instead of a squall line forming, a group of storms would develop and form an area of semi-discrete supercells, all with the capabilities of producing strong to intense tornadoes. Despite the SPC keeping the tornado risk for the area limited, NWS Wilmington got to work alerting those in their area of this possibility, posting on social media that residents of western Ohio needed to be on the lookout for tornadoes. Sure enough, the HRRR scenario ended up playing out. But, thankfully, NWS Wilmington was able to get their message out, and many people in the region were weather aware as the sun began to set. TV meteorologists in Dayton can largely be thanked for dispersing that information to the public as well. Throughout the day, they did an excellent job alerting their viewers of the threat for severe weather. During the outbreak itself, meteorologists such as McCall, Vrydaghs, and Simpson worked for hours on end providing life-saving information to the residents of western Ohio and the Miami Valley. At the same time, alongside the constant barrage of new tornado warnings, they dealt with something that many on-air meteorologists have had to battle against themselves: viewers getting angry at them for cutting into regularly scheduled programming. Simpson chose to address these viewers directly during his coverage in a clip that later went viral.
I was just checking social media. We have viewers complaining already. Just go back to the show. No, we're not going back to the show, folks. This is a dangerous situation, okay? It's nice, right? Think about this was your neighborhood. I'm sick and tired of people complaining about this. Our job here is to keep people safe, and that is what we're going to do. Some of you complain that this is all about my ego. Stop. Okay, just stop right now. It's not. I'm done with you people. I really am. This is pathetic. Dangerous situation here. All right, I'm sorry I did that. It just really bothers me that we have people that don't care about other people's safety around here. That's just ridiculous. New tornado warning here. That's the same one we had. That's headed towards central.
TV stations across the country are required by the FCC to break into regularly scheduled programming to cover any and all tornado warnings issued within their viewing areas. This requirement is for the betterment of all Americans and has saved countless lives over the past several decades. Yet, meteorologists not just in Dayton, but across the country, continue to deal with angry viewers whenever their weathermen and women come onto their televisions. Just a few weeks prior to the Memorial Day outbreak, a meteorologist in Atlanta, Georgia, received death threats when her station broke into coverage of the Masters to cover a series of tornadoes in her state. Meteorologist James Spann, one of the most respected figures in the weather community, who has covered severe weather in central Alabama for decades, has similarly had to address his viewers when they complain during bouts of significant weather there. All because meteorologists broke into coverage of a reality TV show or a sporting event to try to save lives. Among the debris were tens of thousands of survivors. People who against the odds managed to escape the tornado, largely unharmed and alive. Robin Sassenberg was one of them. When the tornado hit her home in Dayton, she was searching for photos to use in the memorial service for her son, who had passed away a week prior from an illness. Her home was significantly damaged, but she emerged unharmed, shaken but alive. When interviewed by passing reporters in the days after the storm, she told them that this is nothing. It does not compare to losing a kid. She also said, however, that if there's one thing I know, it's that I'm not alone. Because the community, knowing the struggles she was going through, rallied around Robin, helping her pick up the pieces of her home, lifting branches and trees from her yard, offering any helping hand they could to help this grieving mother in need. Alongside her story were countless others of people persevering in the face of disaster. For instance, the Barr family in Beavercreek. Their barn had been destroyed in a 2018 tornado, and were just finishing repairs when it was struck by one of the EF3s on Memorial Day 2019. Despite the loss, the thing they were most thankful for was the fact that their grandson's cow Waylon had made it through both twisters unharmed. Tasha Johnson, a school teacher and athletic director in Trotwood, lived in her family's dream home. It was decimated by the Dayton EF4, yet she and her family made sure to support their neighbors, and their neighbors supported them, the whole community uniting together as one to lend a helping hand. In the now 6 years since the Memorial Day outbreak, much of the impacted area has been rebuilt. Not everything has been perfect, though. Damage remains evident in portions of Dayton, where poor economic conditions have made it difficult for some to rebuild. The area has seen additional bouts of severe weather, notably in March 2024, when an outbreak of tornadoes impacted areas around Celina and portions of the Miami Valley, causing extensive damage, yet none have come close to the sheer level of devastation seen on Memorial Day 2019. As of the making of this video, the Dayton tornado is the last violent, or EF4+ tornado to strike Ohio. Hopefully, it will remain the last for a long time. This has been Overcast. Thank you for watching.